We made our first impressions on Arcana, but we have not talked yet about how to properly build Isabel. Sounds like a fucking joke in 2025 saying how to build Isabel, but here we are. Hello the internets, welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict. Today's topic, how to build Isabel, a video I never thought I would have to make. It's gonna be a short one, probably. There's not a lot of things to go through. But before we start, thank you to all my patrons for making this content possible. Love you all bastards. And you can also leave a like and subscribe to help me grow the channel. So there is a couple things tied to Isabel. The website has been updated. If you prefer to just go ahead and read, just go to the website, filter by characters, Isabel, click on her, and you can see everything in here. Okay. Also, tomorrow I'll make the final verdict on Arcana and publish the updated tier list. But once again, you can already go and check for yourself in the website if you want to. So all that jumping out of the way, this is how to properly build Isabel in 2025. So let's start with the gear, the skills, the cube, a little bit of everything, and then some of the pros and cons that she has. When it comes to the gear, she is like a really basic bitch DPS because as you can see, there is nothing here that is really asking you for no ammo or specific conditions. No, it's just basic skills, meaning for the DPS you want elemental damage, attack, and max ammo capacity. Max ammo capacity, the longer you shoot, the more damage you're doing, the more you can delay reloading, the more damage you can dish out. Pretty simple, right? So max ammo is always nice. It's not mandatory. If you can get crit as well, it's a nice filler. It's again not an amazing stat still in NIKKE. We're starting to get characters that can fully take advantage of this, but it's a nice filler stat. Elemental, attack, max ammo. I've gotten really unlucky. I got one max ammo here, one attack, the mythical black grid lane, and then of course I got another attack right here. So super unlucky. I am stopping. I'm not rerolling anymore on her. It's not really worth it unless you care about min-maxing rates, and I need to save rocks for a Stellar Blade, so it is what it is. When it comes to her skills, I know this might sound harsh, okay, but you could leave her at 1-1-1 and she's still gonna be doing fantastic damage as long as you bring Arcana. Her damage is not based on her skills at all. You could leave her at 4-4-4 and she will work, literally. But, of course, you know, if you are investing into Arcana, it's because you want Isabel to be doing more damage and you want that Electro team to be doing good. So you should be focusing on a skill 2. This skill 2 will be going from 15-second active to like a 3-4 second skill cooldown. So it's pretty good, and at level 7 is 149, and at level 10, if I remember correctly, should be 180, I believe it is, so that is nice. Now, like I was saying earlier, I would recommend just going for like a 4-7-4, I think that is more than enough. If you want more damage on Isabel, you do not invest in Isabel, you invest in Arcana, which is weird, but it's how it works. At least for skills. When it comes to the gear, of course, you do not want to be overloading Arcana. So it's kind of a mix where you want to level up the gear on Isabel and the skills on Arcana in order to have a combination, right? They get a fusion like in Dragon Ball. So that's for the gear and for the skills. When it comes to the cube, honestly, as usual, there is nothing much to say, guys. She is a 1.86 second reload time. Unless you are bringing reload speed buffers into your composition like Crown, the mates, or anyone else, you should be using Resilience. It's gonna be the best one. Hit rate does work for shotguns, but it's kind of a wasted cube when you could be using Resilience or Bastion instead. Those two are always going to be the best ones. The max ammo one could work, but then you fall into the same problem of, you know, a long reload as well. So I would recommend personally, as you can see right here, Resilience for faster reload and a basic bitch DPS build when it comes to her cubes. Now, that said, let's talk a little bit about the pros and the cons. And I'm going to be 100% honest. As someone who loves Isabel's design, I love her design. She has not a single pro. There is nothing positive to say about the character that cannot do anything without Arcana, right? Because we could always say on bunnies, for example, Nor is the weakling, but Nor still has some good buffs for your team. Lang is 60 seconds, yeah, but she still is providing the indomitability, the heals when you have her on the team, etc. And then Rogue is the best bunny arguably, probably, right? So you can say they are kind of weak even if they need one another. But when it comes to Isabel, there is literally nothing good about her. Like, I cannot put a single pro into this because she sucks. She's one of the worst DPSs in the game, and the way they try to fix it is by making another character instead of fixing her skills. Now, I understand making characters that will be buffing other units, but this is not a fix, this is clearly meant to make Isabel usable, which is not a good design in my opinion. Like how they wanna be handling pilgrims moving forward if they are weak, because now it works for this, but what in 2 years when, I don't fucking know, Dorothy has been thrown out of the little teams she's been used recently, right? Is she getting another character to buff her instead of just making her kit stronger, buffing the old character? I don't know. I feel I personally don't like this, but it is what it is. Also guys, there is less lighting because it's getting hot. And so there is not gonna be any more lights in my room until summer is over. I really dislike this weather. I prefer the cold. You know, I'm a goblet. I like putting my hoodie on and be happy. That said, cons about Isabel. Isabel on her own is trash. I know it's harsh. I love her, but it is what it is. She only works because they introduced a buffer specifically made for her, Arcana. Low damage multipliers for marked targets and marking systems are only beneficial over long fights, which is fine because you're only gonna be using her on raids, or that should be like the only way you're using her. There is no situation where, you know, in campaign she's gonna be really that beneficial, considering you have to bring also Arcana. And then reducing full burst duration for a majority of units is a downside and lowers DPS. Of course, this does not apply if using units like Arcana. And then lastly, on her notes, I also added that it's not worth taking her skills any higher, since all of her damage is coming, of course, from Arcana. Skill 2 is still good to take to 7. To me, this is a character I will be resetting most likely when we get resets at some point, and I will probably be leaving her at like a 4, 10, 4, depending on how many resources I have. If not, a 4, 7, 4 is more than enough. But yeah, as of right now, I just cannot recommend building her, nor Arcana, nor pulling for Arcana, unless you really love Isabel, or of course, unless you care about solo raids. If you care about solo raids, you will have to build her. It's a really expensive build just for a character that, yeah, is doing really good damage, but you cannot even use her in tower. That's like the worst part in my opinion, because if we're talking about Isabel, you cannot use her in tower because Arcana is not Pilgrim, and you cannot use Arcana either on her own tower because, well, she is Elysian, so she's not buffing anyone in Elysian. So that's what I dislike this type of characters, because it's specifically for raids, for endgame content. There is no other situation where you're gonna be like, oh yeah, let me bring Arcana here in hard campaign, right? Let me overload her and get her gear to level 5. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That said though, if you like Isabel, this is a great time to be building her because we have a lot of resources thanks to the road to billion. In my opinion, a character that most people should be able to skip, Arcana and Isabel. So this is good to save resources for Stellar Blade, but I would prefer if Pilgrims, instead of getting these type of characters, get an actual treasure, because that's why supposedly they created the treasure system. So are we forgetting why we made it in the first place, or what's going on Shift Up? That said, I think that's gonna be for this one. It's gonna be a shorter video because as much as I love Isabel, her build is really simple and it's connected and tied directly to, of course, Arcana. But enough yapping, we're gonna be live later. If you wanna come by, discuss some NIKKE characters or who is the best waifu, feel free to drop by, link in the description. Love you all bastards. Good luck with your pool dinner rates. I'll see you in the next one.